Carl Jung had a very interesting, unique psychological view on UFOs and nuclear war. His ideas about the collective unconscious archetypes and the death drive, or equally called Thanatos, provide a deep understanding of how these phenomena reflect our anxieties and fears in modern life. Jung believed UFOs are modern symbols. They're kind of a modern mythological invention by ourselves from the collective unconscious, the part of our mind shared by all humans. He said, in the threatening situation of the world today, when people are beginning to see that everything is at stake, the projection-creating fantasy soars beyond the realms of earthly organizations and powers into the heavens, into interstellar space, where the rulers of human fate, the gods, once had their abode in the planets. And he said this in 1958, so this was around the time of the Cold War, and the Cold War, of course, brought a lot of tension between existential, well, the existential threat of life itself, with war and nuclear war, atomic bombs, all this type of stuff. And we can see also there's a correlation between nuclear war, or the Cold War back then, between Russia and the United States, and sightings of UFOs. There was a correlation. So Jung was very curious as to why there was this correlation. What was the psychic content behind it? Was it because of fear and anxiety? Was it because this invention of that which very much embodies the death drive psychologically, the nuclear bomb, what does that insinuate for the future of humanity, and what's that going to provoke within our consciousness? So UFOs kind of represent our search for meaning and hope in times of crisis, you could say, symbolizing a connection to something greater. When we are in a crisis, we want to ride against the waves of death. We can therefore see UFOs as a psychic function for possibly salvation and repair from a state of existential paranoia, a hope to escape from fear itself. And you see this often, and you even see this now, where people are very much associating extraterrestrial life with the idea that, well, they must be more intelligent than us, therefore they must want to protect us, or they want to save us from a crisis we might create within the world. You know, you hear this kind of rhetoric quite a bit with the whole extraterrestrial, alien stuff. And it's kind of interesting because it embodies the aspect of, well, if there is something that is threatening us on a global level, what is something that could idealistically save us from that? Something that's from out of this world, something that is alien to us, but is full of awe and shock and surprise, such as UFOs. So there is that kind of salvatory aspect to it, to UFOs for some reason. Now, why does this relate to nuclear war? The fear of nuclear war highlights Jung's concept of, as I was saying, not Jung's concept, but Freud's concept of the death drive, which represents our tendency towards destruction, a self-destruction. Now, the hydrogen bomb was, or has, quite apart from its obvious purpose, a highly suggestive and persuasive effect on the unconscious mind. The threat of nuclear war forces us to confront our darkest fears and potential for self-destruction, reflecting the collective shadow of humanity itself. Because of this, nuclear war goes hand in hand with UFOs, because the symbolic meaning of UFOs may have never existed without the threat of nuclear war itself. For the threat of nuclear war acts as a driving force for the psychic and symbolic manifestation of the UFO itself. The threat of war, nuclear war, makes the UFO as symbol both viral and mimetic in the collective consciousness, because we perceive it as that in which is going to save us most of the time. It's going to abduct us from this nightmare we are living in, or in which we might create from something like nuclear war. And that provokes paranoia, it provokes an existential nightmare within the mind. And what is a way to escape that cruel reality that is very possible, something like UFO, or the idea of extraterrestrial life, or flying saucers, and all of this kind of stuff is a modern myth of desire in many ways. Desire to escape. Both UFOs and nuclear war evoke a fear of the unknown, a deep-seated anxiety in the human psyche, and that's why I think these two things marry each other very symbolically as being interrelated. We can say that UFOs are reminiscent of the rumors of angels seen in the air. We have here an example of the psychological compensation needed to fill the gap left by the inadequacy of the conscious mind. These phenomena symbolize our inability to fully understand the complexities of existence, filling the void with projections of our fears and hopes regarding human existence. So, if you enjoyed this video about this kind of interesting content regarding symbolism, psychology, Carl Jung's kind of interpretation of UFOs, and him trying to understand this kind of stuff in the 50s and the 60s, then I very much recommend you subscribe, as I'll be doing more content like this as usual around psychology, philosophy, and symbolism and stuff like this. Now, of course, if you're interested in coaching, or if you're interested in any of the programs that I run with my coaching system, then do check those out in the link in the description. But if you like this video, make sure to comment your thoughts down below. What do you make of this kind of stuff? Give it a like, share it around, and I will speak to you in the next video.